Hi, and welcome to Let's Talk Sports podcast with me, Lucia. The Steelers are still undefeated. How incredible is that? They are officially 8-0, and I am very impressed with them. I still don't think that they're the best team in the AFC. I still think that that's the Chiefs, because somehow the Steelers got the entirety of the NFC East on their schedule. That's 3 games that they knew that they were going to win. It is incredible to see how great they actually are and how great Big Ben is now that he is back fully healthy after his layoff injury last year. The Giants have beaten the Washington football team, the team without a name they beat. This isn't that big of a deal. I just wanted to mention the fact that the Giants actually did something good within their football year. It is so hard to be a Giants fan. I struggle so hard with the constant disappointment of being a New York Giants fan. It's not like they're the lovable losers like the Cubs were for many years, like the Sox were for many years. It does not get better. Every single decision that they make makes my head spin. I want them to fire Gettleman yesterday. I love Joe Judge though. Think he's a great coach and would love to get a team around him. But at least we're not the worst team in New York. The worst team in New York goes to the New York Jets. As many people say, the Jets stand for just end this season. They still have not won a game. They're 0-9. 0-9. And they barely lost the game against the Pats. Like, the Pats should have won that game a hell of a lot more easily, but the Pats are sticking up the joint as well. I think Cam Newton is clearly not the same Cam that he was many years ago. But yeah. Is Trevor Lawrence bound to the New York Jets? Or should Trevor Lawrence pull an Eli Manning and say that he is not going to be a New York Jet? If I was Trevor Lawrence, I would do that. I would say there is no way in this planet Earth that I will be going to the New York Jets. I would literally force a way to get to the Giants because the Giants actually have a structural influence in place that has been going on for centuries and they've actually got the structure to win a Super Bowl. The Jets, with Adam Gase as a head coach, who in his first ever meeting turned up high, does not look like they can actually put together a decent team around Trevor Lawrence. They should be better than this. They should be. Like, the Jets should be better, but they're not. The Jets stink. And that is so sad for my New York Jets fans out there, which I think that I've only got 2 because the New York Jets have literally 0 fans. Well, almost 0. Kind of like how there's like no Clipper fans out there as well. They're just disgruntled Lakers fans that just don't want the whole Lakers fandom on them, which being a Lakers fan is pretty satisfying. Anyway, in talking about the NBA and the National Basketball Players Association announced this week that they have reached an agreement in principle on the start of the 2020-2021 season, as well as adjustments to certain provisions for the collective bargaining agreement impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. The NBA Board of Governors today unanimously approved the agreement, the parties have agreed on the following principles. The start of the season will begin on December 22nd. The season will be a 72-game schedule. The full regular season and broadcast schedules will be released on further along. I don't know why I could not read that, but I just could not read that. In my humble opinion, I do not think that we will be getting 72 games. It will be a miracle if any team actually makes the 72 games. But that's something that we can discuss further along the way. A new system will be used to ensure the parties' agreed upon split of the basketball-related income in the event of player compensation where to exceed the player's designated share in any season. Necessary salary reductions beyond the standard 10% escrow will be spread across the season and potentially the following 2 seasons, with a maximum salary reduction of 20%. That's huge, because at first they were going to go with a 40% in escrow just for this season. I think spreading it out along to possibly 3 seasons is actually incredible, because it gives the players a certain amount of leeway. So for the 2020-2021 season, the salary cap will be at $109.1 million, and the tax level will be at $132.6 million. In the subsequent seasons, the CBA, the salary cap, and the tax level will be increased by a minimum of 3% and a maximum of 10% over the prior season. Teams' tax payments will be reduced in proportion to any basketball-related income decreases. And free agency negotiations will begin on the 20th of November at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, with signings starting at 9:01 a.m. Pacific Time on the 22nd of November. So that was a lot of information that I just gave you guys about the return of the season. Number 1, very excited. Number 2, very excited. Number 3, very excited. So I'm very excited. In order for all that to go down, I have decided that over the weekend I will be recording a special NBA pre-draft preview that will be released on Monday, and it is going to explain the draft order, who I think should be number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to do the top 5, and where I see a lot of free agents and draft trades and everything possible. So that will be an entire episode all to itself, just because I try and cover a lot in these quick podcasts, and I just need to get my full head around it. So I need to take the weekend to process my thoughts about it and actually do research into these college players, because we don't get much college basketball out here in Australia. So in talking about this upcoming week, we have Week 10 in the National Football League. We've got the Titans versus the Colts. I'm going with the Colts. We've got the Browns versus the Texans. I am going with the Texans, even though JJ Watt wants out. I'll discuss that too next week and discuss possible destinations that he will be going. We've got the Lions versus Washington. I'm going with the Lions, because betting for Washington is like betting against yourself. You got Panthers versus the Bucks. I'm going with the Bucks, even though the Bucks got destroyed against Drew Brees' Saints, but I think the Bucks will bounce back. I think Tom Brady needs occasional games where he is at the lower end, but yeah, I think that the Bucks have got this. We've got the Giants versus the Eagles. I'm going with the Giants. We've got the Packers versus the Jags. I'm going with the Packers. We've got the Cardinals versus the Bulls. I'm going with the Bulls. I mean the Bills. I'm not talking about I am not talking about the Chicago Bulls. I'm talking about the Buffalo Bills. Sorry about that. I'm going with the Bills. We've got the Dolphins versus the Chargers. I am going with the Dolphins. We've got the Raiders versus the Broncos. I am going with the Raiders. We've got the Rams versus the Seahawks. I'm going with the Seahawks. We've got the Steelers versus the Bengals. I'm going with the Steelers. We've got the Saints versus the 49ers. I'm going with the Saints because I think that my preseason pick might actually be coming true and they might actually become a Super Bowl contender. We've got the Patriots versus the Ravens. I'm going with the Ravens because the Patriots absolutely stink at the moment. And then we've got the Bears versus the Vikings. I'm going with the Vikings because I cannot trust the Bears to do anything. Because the minute that they get something good, they decide to destroy it. So, that is all for this week's episode of Let's Talk Sports podcast with me, Lucia. So I'll catch you all next week. Bye.